Ladies and gentlemen, a chess world record was broken today, and I am here to share this absolutely fascinating and wild story with all of you. We've just finished watching the World Chess Championship, and we've seen live viewership be at 50,000, 80,000, 100,000, and all the recaps afterward getting their views. But do you know that the most watched chess match live of all time is between Dewa Kipas and Irene Sukander? That infamous match during the Indonesian drama, which had about 1.3 million live viewers, that was broken today and nearly doubled by none other than Spanish mystery chess player Rey Enigma. I have put a link in the description to his channel. I'm so hyped I can barely speak. I'm not even editing that part out. Who played in Spain's Got Talent today in a final versus a surprise guest. That surprise guest was Anatoly Karpov. We're getting vibes of Mikhail Osipov, which is the reference to Karpov playing the 3-year-old kid live on Russian television. Rey Enigma had to do a final challenge against a mystery guest, because he's a mystery himself, and play against Anatoly Karpov in a 3-minute blitz game. And if Karpov beat him, then he would have to reveal his identity. This was the, and of course, links to the description will be in the description to all this stuff will be there. It's obviously in Spanish, the main commentary, so you have to understand it a little bit. But Rey Enigma begins the blitz game with 1t4, and apparently, early measurements, I've spoken to Rey Enigma about this, I have confirmed that live viewership was about 2.5 million. This is the first broadcasted game on television like this, I think, ever. So, I mean, chess has been on live TV, but not like this. So, knight f6, knight to f3, e6, e3, b6, and Rey Enigma likes to play the Kali system with knight f3, bishop d3, very solid. It's kind of like a meme, but it's also a solid opening. And it's hypothesized that the playing strength of Rey is probably around GM strength, but nobody really knows who it is. There are many guesses. c5, which is a standard way to strike back on the flank. We have c3, bishop e7, queen e2. So the point of queen e2 is that you don't want to commit the king too early. You want to see what's happening with the black position. Karpov decides to take. So he clarifies the situation with the pawns. We now have a pawn structure that could potentially arise out of an exchange Caro-Kann. So e4, c6, d4, d5, ed, cd, meaning that white no longer has an e-pawn, black no longer has a c-pawn. In some situations, this is like a potential like reverse Carlsbad, where a side has dba and no c-pawn. And that can also happen in certain Queen's Gambit situations. So Karpov is going to try to expand on this side of the board with a and b. And try to hit at this structure with rook c8, etc. Rey might try to create an attack on this side of the board like that. Castles, d6. And Karpov here sets up something that I don't know if it's... Anytime I see 4 pawns on the 6th rank like this, I just call it the hedgehog. And the hedgehog is just a very spiky and difficult to crack pawn structure. It can arise in certain Sicilians where, you know, we have c takes on d4, like, you know, in Sicilian positions. So it's a hedgehoggy structure, and it's very Karpovian. I mean, Karpov is like the master at putting the pieces on the right squares and restricting your opponent's movement and playing against their plans. But this is a 3-minute game. This is a live 3-minute game. So you got to make quick moves and be solid. We have a4 preventing the move b5. Karpov finishes his development. h3, just kind of a pass-by move. Rook e8. And Karpov kind of has his setup. He has every single piece on just the right square before he can begin operations. Now, it seems as though Rey is playing a little bit hesitant, maybe? Like not, you know, I mean, you're playing a freaking blitz game against Anatoly Karpov on live television and you didn't know he was going to be your opponent. I mean, I can kind of see where the jitters come in. We have bishop g5. We have h6, and now a very common maneuver in any type of hedgehog is knight to d5, inviting the trade of dark squared bishop. So black actually really wants this trade. Black wants this trade because there are certain dark squares up for grabs in the white position, especially after you play h3, because if you play g3, you weaken this, and you also weaken the pawn. Is the position better for black? Absolutely not. I'm just saying Karpov has just achieved step 1. But remember, I told you he wants to expand on that side of the board, which it might be a good idea now for white to just preemptively bring the knight back to e3, fighting against this and this. When white doesn't do that, instead kind of just rotating this knight around, maybe we're going back toward the middle, At the end of the day, you're making fast moves that are solid, that are not committing to too much, right? You're playing knight f to d2 with potential ideas to transfer the knight somewhere else, etc., etc. Karpov brings the knight back to d5, and a couple moves later, he has successfully achieved b5, and he is now doing something called taking over the initiative. Karpov has made no empty move. I mean, every move that he's made has been a slow and steady improvement of his position, but now the position has to open up, right? So Rey takes on b5, and now has the option to move his knight or take the rook and then move his knight. What he should have done is he should have not played rook takes rook. He should keep the tension of the rooks and put his knight on a3, going for knight takes b5. At that point, black would probably play the move b4, and white can still go knight b5, and it's just a very, very tense position. There is knight takes c3, it looks like, and this actually looks very scary because the queen is hitting everybody. She's pissed off, and she's coming to collect the money that you rented, she loaned you, and you haven't paid back. So queen takes c3 is a problem, and you have to be very sure before you enter this that it's okay. It's barely okay. White needs to play only moves. Rey does it like this, where, okay, well now knight takes c3 is obviously not a concern, except it is. Knight takes c3 is actually completely winning for black. Knight c3 is an insane move. If you pin the knight to the queen, I just move the knight, and I check you. So I sack the knight, and then I get my queen in here, and that's game over. And if you take the knight, well, again, the queen hits everybody. Maybe not the knight, but these three pieces. The queen's just too far away. The white queen just can't defend everybody, so black is going to get in, and black is much better. Knight c3 is a dynamite strike. Karpov misses it. It's, you know, given the setting in which that they are playing, it's easy to miss stuff like this. The crowd, I mean, it's just crazy. It's live TV. I mean, it's a 3-minute game. You know, you're not playing a world championship match. Obviously, all world champions would see this. Karpov is just playing the easy moves. Rook a2, get this, then get this, get in here. White's position is really tough to defend, but Rey is defending it. I mean, knight d1, and he's keeping up with Karpov on the clock. He is not allowing the heat of the moment to kind of overtake, right? His whole identity is at stake. I mean, this is the final of Spain's Got Talent. This is crazy. His whole identity is at stake if he loses this game, so he can't lose. Got to win or draw. Bishop c6. Karpov defends, and now Rey plays knight to e4. That was the first time I ever said Rey during this whole video with an American accent. It pops back in. Rey Enigma. Queen takes e4, and we have an opportunity to go to h7 and deliver a mate. Knight to f6, stops mate, and attacks the queen two ways. Queen comes back. Position still solid. Karpov still looking at taking over the long-term initiative with threats over here. Very difficult for white to do anything. He moves his knight. This loses a defender, but this is a horrible move. That is not a move you want to play because you drastically weaken your dark squares. Knight to e3 is still played. The rook is still over there pressuring everything. However, white is about to play bishop b1 and ask the rook where the hell it's going. And I think it's overstayed its welcome. All right, it's like a grown kid, you know, 21, 22, dropped out of college, no real prospects, living in the parents' house. Kind of like projecting here a little bit, or maybe describing some situations that you guys are having. Hey, life is long. Never too late to reinvent yourself. Knight to e3, b4. Karpov still coming in with the queenside initiative. Rey says, no. It's my turn to take over the initiative. And take over the initiative he does. Because in this position, he has the opportunity to slap in the move d5, and all of a sudden, Karpov's rook here is not looking very intimidating at all. And Rey is going to crack open the center. E takes d5 is met with knight takes d5, and if bishop d5, it's mate. The Rey sacrifices the dama, and now knight e8, rook e8 is mate. You just rip it all open, and it's checkmate. The Kali bishop. The Kali system with the Kali bishop covering the checkmate. So d5 is juicy. Of course, Karpov is not going to blunder this, but d5 is the best move. Rey plays bishop back to b1. The rook's got to go. Again, here, d5 is good, but it's less good because now the rook is back defending the ranks of the king, the 8th rank, right? Rey plays rook d1, b3, and now we have d5. Okay, he accomplishes d5, but in a slightly less powerful fashion. Now, Karpov has to deal with the incoming assault. What does he do? Chop, chop, bishop to b5, hitting the queen, asking where it's going, not allowing it to group up with the bishop. Maybe queen f3, queen f5, knight g4 is an idea. Man, I'm so excited, like, nothing is functioning. I'm, like, holding in a burp. I, like, can't breathe. I also haven't even had coffee. It's 9 in the morning. I'm recording this game. I was just so hyped about it. So I barely slept. Queen f3, bishop d7, preventing knight g4. Very important move because, for example, if something like this, like I'm just saying worst case scenario, I mean, white wins. White wins. That's the plan. Queen f5, bishop b1, kaboom, all the way to h7, removing the defender, and white is going to win. Karpov isn't going to allow that. He plays bishop to d7. Rey still plays knight g4. The problem with this? Big positional mistake. After chop, chop, I always say don't trade a bishop for a knight unless there's a good reason. This case, the good reason, the dark squares for white are lost. You will never win the battle on the light squares. This dude fights on the light squares. Did I say dark squares? Light squares? You're never going to win the battle on the dark squares anymore because this is a light squared bishop. This knight fights on both colors and you can't get in. You're never going to get rid of that knight because your pawns are also doubled, right? And here comes Karpov. Oh my goodness. The man, the Soviet machine has made this his bread and butter type of position. The queen hits everybody. Here comes bishop to f5. We have rook e8, king h2, and now Karpov misses a tactical win. Very tough to spot, but here he can play g6, and the pawn on g4 has got to go. If you take on g6, looking to take back on f6, that is an opportunity, but the knight chops, and that's why you had to activate your queen, and then you would take the bishop. You will be able to win the knight, yes, but at the end, there is this move, and all of white's hopes and dreams collapse as the rook gets in on the second rank, a very common endgame principle, and all the pawns get captured. Karpov misses the move g6 and plays the move rook to e5. Rook to d3, queen c5, the pieces are dancing, the b3 pawn is won, but black is going to be winning the d pawn in a moment. He plays knight takes d5, rook to d3, he's got to move his queen somewhere where the knight is going to be safe, right? So he gives a check. We have queen g3, and here, knight to f4, attacking the rook, and Rey misses a win. A winning move on the spot. Both players, less than a minute on the clock, making every move within 1 second. Literally, your brain sees a move and plays it. He plays rook to f3, which is a very natural move. Rook e3, and Rey would have beaten Anatoly Karpov. Queen to b5, but the queen is overloaded. It can't guard both things anymore. Chop on e8, chop the knight, you're up a bishop. You're going to beat Anatoly Karpov. You're going to beat Magnus Carlsen. You're going to beat Alpha Zero in that position because it's just so hopeless for black. So, rook to f3. He misses his opportunity. Knight e6. And now we have an endgame. You know what I would have done here? Chop this. Just get rid of the knight. Rook and 4. Rook and 4. Just trust yourself. All right? Trust yourself. You go b4. Rook b3 behind the pawn. Make a draw. You're not going to lose. But he doesn't do it. Right? He doesn't do it. And now that allows Karpov to begin. Look at this dark square play. Every piece Karpov has is on a dark square. Except the king. But every single piece, because the light square bishop has no battle. And now the game is slowly cut. Look at Karpov's king. Oh my gosh. Have you guys ever seen the clip of Karpov entering against Misha Osipov? The clip of where he plays the 3-year-old and it's like the wide Karpov. That's what he's doing. Karpov is king walking. He is doing a gorilla strut all the way down the board. King c5, king b4. The entire identity of the player with the white pieces is at stake. The king has arrived. And ladies and gentlemen, disaster strikes as in a mad time scramble. Rey Enigma gets his rook trapped. The rook is trapped on d2. This is crazy. Now, at this point, you just resign, but you can't. You don't want to unmask yourself in front of millions of viewers. You have to try to keep on playing. This part of the video is probably going to offend some people because people are very, you must resign when you are lost. And then they're going to, but just bear with me, okay? So, rook to e2, Karpov sees it. Crazy. Karpov sees a one mover. And now Rey is just trying to win on time. It's very close, maybe 15 seconds each. It's about who makes the move faster and who is more of a rascal, all right? Because you can, grab his hand at the clock. Hey, rook a2, if you want to watch this, by the way, it's on YouTube. I told you link is in the description after this. He pushes his pawns. Here comes Karpov. Very important here by Karpov to take all the pawns. Karpov needs to win all the pawns because if he loses on time and white has sufficient checkmating material, even one pawn, because it can turn into a queen, he wins. So Karpov's making sure he's not even going to lose, right? Well, Karpov should be probably promoting a queen of his own. Karpov dances around, and there it goes. Here comes Karpov, but Rey very cleverly holding on for a little bit longer. This is not a good move. At this point, I would have probably played king d2. King d2 probably, because you just need to win the bishop first. But now it's going to take Karpov a lot longer to get a queen. Rey is running. He's running. Karpov also in a mad dash, trying to beat him on the clock. 5 seconds each. And on move 84 of this game, Anatoly Karpov lost on time by 2 or 3 seconds. And Rey Enigma survives. Doesn't lose the game. It is a draw due to insufficient checkmating material. And the players shook hands and the identity was preserved. Wow. Oh my gosh. Whew. I was nervous watching this clip. I understand everything about the game of chess. Like, I'm not watching Spain's Got Talent like, oh my God, I've never seen chess before. This is absolutely fascinating. But I was nervous. I was like, oh no, I don't want to know who Rey Enigma is. Probably 5 people in the world know who it is. Probably just his friends or something. Maybe he will at some point unmask, but what he's doing in chess is absolutely fascinating in Spain. Spain does have a very rich chess culture. You know, one of the main broadcasters, I'm forgetting his name, but one of the main hosts of Got Talent was even telling him that, you know, thank you for doing this because you've helped me, you know, kind of connect with my own kid. You know, we were playing some chess together, and I've gotten a lot of messages like that. So anything for popularizing chess. I mean, this is so awesome. And yeah, I told Rey Enigma I would cover his game. And I tried to make the commentary as exciting as possible. You all should definitely watch the clips. And he's making an English channel, but most of his content is in Spanish right now. Links to all that will be in the description. I hope you enjoyed. I recorded this on a Saturday, so please have a great rest of your weekend. Shout out to Mr. Rey Enigma for answering all my questions in Twitter DMs. And maybe we will do a collab in the future. Maybe in New York, maybe in Spain. Probably in New York, though. That's all. See you in the next video. Get out of here.